partners. Like they did an
I
Aztec
didn't know that
series.
either.
Yeah, they like at DC they did like a big Flash run. Like
Mark Miller, like I like his stories, but they feel like they're almost too simple to be friends with Grant Morrison. You know, you know what I'm saying? Like his
yeah,
stories
yeah.
are so straightforward, and you read a Grant story, and you're like, you have to really be in the right mindset to be totally
It's so
focused and
true.
read it.
They're actually like perfect balance to each other. So it's like
Yeah,
one's very
yeah,
complex
I
and
can
one's
kind of
very
see
simple.
that too. Yeah.
They did a Aztec like from Grant Morrison's JLA run. He had a character called Aztec, and they did a I don't know, it's like 260 pages. I think they did like a 12-issue run of Aztec, and then they did a 15-issue run on the Flash together, in between Mark Waid and Jeff Johns, which is pretty
It's
cool.
probably strange. I'll probably have to check that Flash out. I love Flash, so
It's I have the collected edition digitally. I can email it to you.
yeah, that'd be cool.
It's the one where Wally. It's when Wally West is the Flash. It's when he outruns the Black Flash to like the end of time. I've heard of this story 1,000
Yeah,
times. Like people always talk
that
about it.
sounds exactly like a Flash story Grant Morrison would write.
Yeah, yeah, it does.
All right, let's get going here. We only got one dude for the facts, and we got war stories. And did you just? Oh yeah, we did our books. Yeah, I got for sign out segment this week. We're going to take our guesses at who's going to return in Legacy from because we put the trailer in last week.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
So piggybacking off that, I'm like they kind of hint at somebody big returning. I want to try to take a stab at it.
Do you know what me and Aaron were talking about earlier? It's DC, but we were wondering, like, they announced that Hitch is not going to be on Justice League anymore, like a month ago, but they have yet to announce who's taking
I know.
over.
It's got to be in December. Oh no, because he's not done till February.
Yeah, yeah, it's like January, February. So I'm like, who the hell is?
Won't do it until like end of next month when the solicits are about to drop. I bet.
I was like, wouldn't it be cool if it was like, because there were those rumors that Hickman was like, DC was courting him,
Yeah.
and then last month they had not last month, but a few weeks ago they had the picture of him and Jim Lee going out to lunch together, and people were like, come on, if you go out to lunch with the co-publisher of DC Comics, he's obviously either has you coming on board or he's trying to get you to come on board. You know what I mean?
Hashing something out, like maybe who's going to do your art or something.
Yeah. Which I was like, that'd be a crazy Justice League run. I'd be up for that. And then they had like 5 months to prepare. So like,
I saw actually some of Hitch drawing Hawkman shit, and it looked really good.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that.
So,
because Kevin Nolan's doing inks, so that should be really good.
Yeah, that's what I always said. Somebody needs to ink Hitch's shit because when he just draws it and then colors it, like it doesn't look right. It doesn't look good
at all.
Yeah,
and now that
shadows aren't there,
he's gonna have his like a different colorer, and he's gonna have a good artist inking his stuff. Like someone who's a good penciler is gonna ink his stuff. Like this is just gonna be I can't wait to read this issue.
It looks sweet. All right, let's get the Gardner done here. All right, we are back, guys. This is the midpoint Marvelous Facts. Due to the depthiness of Royals, we only picked out one person for midpoint Marvelous Facts this week. I couldn't really single someone out from Royals' book. And we've kind of touched on the royal family of sorts for the facts section already. And we've also kind of touched on Venom, who's going to end our second book section, really, with the two Venomverse books that came out this week. So the Gardner is going to get the focus this week, and he ends up being the big bad who is picking on Groot in the Guardians of the Galaxy book. And he's created by Bill Mantlo and John Bryan. So this is the first time in a while we don't got a Kirby or a Stan Lee creation slapping us across the face. And I think that's kind of the case for more of the cosmic lineup. Like I guess Kirby did a bunch of the cosmic people too, but I feel like you start hitting the Starlins and the Mantlos and shit like that when you get into the cosmic people of Marvel.
Yeah. And like Ron Lim.
Yeah, those guys. But everyone else is Kirby and Lee. The first appearance of the Gardner was in Marvel Team Up number 55. That's from way back in March of 1977. So that one might cost you a few bucks if you're looking to scoop up that first issue. But I got a couple crazy facts because the Gardner is an Elder of the Universe. He's connected to the energy of the universe due to his single-minded devotion to his hobby, gardening shit. So, at least in the Guardians book, that's kind of, they've really, made his namesake what he does. And then as far as equipment goes, I found this interesting. I guess he used to be, at one point, I don't know if he still is, in possession of the time gem, since we're kind of leading to all sorts of, Infinity Stone stuff. And the time gem is the one, obviously, that allows you to time travel, stop, slow down, or speed up the flow of time, accelerate or slow down aging, and see into the past or future. So this, if this guy is in possession of the time gem, really isn't something you want to fuck with. And this might be kind of like a hint as to what he's doing with Groot. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
maybe because he's possibly accelerating the bits of Groot he has, the Groot the Guardians are responsible for at this time. Baby Groot isn't allowed to really like progress at a normal rate, or at least the rate they're used to.
You know what I noticed is right here it says he's obsessed with peace and quiet and his garden, and like he kept calling people flesh bags, and then in the last issue,
I know. Yep, I didn't mention that, but yeah, he kept throwing that around. Anybody that talked.
Right, and he has this army of like killer evil Groots, and he's like wiping out races, going planet by planet. And I'm like, maybe he's trying to kill like all organic, like human meat life, in order to just like make everything a quiet garden.
Kind of go in a little Doom Patrol on us there from like the first arc, just meeting everybody up, turning them into literally like meat. Yeah. Shit, I had something to say about him too. You like Jared? Oh yeah. Fuck, I lost it again. Never mind. I hate when that happens. Bothers me so much.
That happens to me all the time. Me too. It'll come back to you too, and like right when we're done talking about it.
yeah, I know. As soon as we move to the book section too, here I'll be like, oh, remember that Groot thing we were talking about?
I just read that.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say real quick before I forget it again. Was that he kept mentioning to Groot, like, I'm gonna turn you into what you were meant to be, like, because obviously Groot is just a genuine, kind-hearted person at this point. Back from his early history, Groot was, from his first appearance, like a destroyer of worlds. So he's probably pissed off Groot is, fucking with the balance of what he's supposed to be, type of thing.
Yeah.
And trying to get him back to normal. And maybe Groot is like more powerful than the other ones, or you know what I'm hinting at there. So he's the special one. He's trying to get back in line. Just kind of all hearsay I'm throwing out there, but still.
It says here he's immortal because he lost a contest for death, and she was so pissed that she forbid him to go to her realm. So because of that, he can't die, which makes him immortal.
Oh, Jesus. so he's one of those immortal people that's pissed he's immortal too, which never works out well for anybody he comes in contact with, pretty much. But yeah, we're gonna wrap up the Midpoint Marvelous Facts. If you guys, listeners out there, you have anybody you want us to highlight, because we're kind of getting down to the nitty-gritty bottom of the barrel from the books that we like highlight and review and stuff. We've kind of hit on all the main characters. So if you guys have any ideas of random people from Marvel history you want us to spotlight and give the Midpoint Marvelous Fact treatment to, holler at us, let us know who you want to hear. We'll be happy to throw them in. They don't even necessarily have to be in somebody from that week's comics. It can just be in anybody section. So send us some ideas, shoot us notes on Twitter, or hit us up in the email or DMs. You know where to find us, but we're going to transition to book section 2 right after this. All right, so we got Venomverse will slide in there, and then we're going to do War Stories, quick summary of 2 of the...
Sweet, look at that. We're going to be done by like 11:30.
Yeah, it's going to feel pretty good.
It is. Nice.
Watch a few highlights and then go to bed. Get ready for 4 hours of work.
I'm going to watch the hurricane on the Weather Channel.
Yeah, we were watching that halftime at the Bills game, just like the weatherman standing out on some balcony. I'm like, What if he goes over the balcony? That's what I'm thinking the whole time.
My buddy lives in Orlando. He says I was just talking to him on the phone before we were recording, and he was telling me how fucking nuts it is right there right now.
Yeah. Well, he's not like really by a body of water. He's more in the middle of the state, so he probably didn't have to go anywhere, right?
No. He didn't have to go anywhere because it's gonna pass right by him, but he's gonna get like the tail
Shit
end.
ton of rain and bunch of wind. Yeah.
It's gonna be like 80-mile-per-hour winds, which is still rough.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy. We'll get like we don't get up to 80 in the winter, but it'll hit days where we get like 60 and shit because we're so close to the water.
Yeah.
And those days are fucking when I would be walking around college campus were the worst days of my life. I still remember them. I hated them.
It's like that over here because we're Providence is, we have the fucking the port and everything, so it's like the wind just fucking whips you in the face, and the snow drifts like during blizzards.
Oh yeah, you get that too. Awful. Yeah, blows.
Oh, can't see.
All right, we'll get back here with Venomverse. All right, we are back, guys. This is gonna be our last book of the night. It is kind of the anthology book that accompanied the first issue of Venomverse this week. So this is Venomverse War Stories. It's going to slide into our event book slot of the evening. And there's like, what is there? 4 or 5 stories in here. They vary in quality, and it's not really anything you have to necessarily read to be up to date on the series. But, it was actually better than I thought it would be, to be honest with you. I'm not usually an anthology book fan, but I did enjoy some of these stories in this book, with the exception of probably the first one that I just didn't like the art. Like, it was the most informative as far as what's going on and characters you need to know about, but the art, especially like if you look on that first page, Doctor Strange's face looks like his eyes and nose are melting off to the right of his face.
Yeah, it's like it's pretty sloppy.
Yeah, I know the art isn't great there. The ink looks horrible, but we're gonna each pick one of these stories. We're not gonna talk about them all because they're just different little bits here and there. But me and Trevor each liked one that we're gonna spotlight here for you in a little bit of talking. We'll proceed that, and I like the Punisher story on the inside, and that was done by Declan Shelvey, writing and art. He had Chris O'Halloran, Chris O'Halloran, there we go, as the color artist. And yeah, it's just kind of a pretty much bare bones Punisher Kingpin story. Kingpin thinks he's got the drop on Punisher, kind of has made him use all his guns and ammo all up, fighting the different crime families. But now Kingpin has united all these crime families, or what's left of them. And Frank, basically being out of ammo, is coming to the Kingpin with what he thinks is his leg between his tails, looking for some mercy and to call a truce to this war. When Kingpin goes for the "I'm gonna fuck you over" time, like he kind of anticipated he would, that's when Frank reveals his big trick, and that he is embedded with the symbiote. He looks pretty damn cool when he ends up going full symbiote. And probably the coolest part, of this issue, after he pukes in Kingpin's face, is his gun, which is kind of like a mini symbiote gun. Like, the clip looks like a mouth, and it shoots bullet teeth.
That's fucking so awesome. So fucking awesome. After I read that last night, I texted you and I was like, this is so fucking awesome. He's got bullet teeth in this gun.
Yeah, so he didn't need ammo at all. And he just goes ham on all these fucking dudes that Kingpin locked him in a room with. Does he end up killing Kingpin? Because you don't see it on panel anyway, I don't think.
No, you don't. No, you just see him like with the shit on his face suffocating, and then he kills everybody, and then that's it. He goes away. So I just have to assume that he did.
Yeah. Well, once he leaves, I think he suffocated him to death. I think that's kind of how it's going to leave it, because the symbiote leading into the next quick part of this story doesn't look like somebody that has mercy on anybody, because for his deal that he made with Punisher, killing all the bad guys Punisher wanted dead, Punisher agreed to kill one person for the symbiote, and the symbiote wants him to kill Spider-Man. So they end up tracking down Spider-Man, and Frank and the symbiote kind of get into an argument with one another. And just when the symbiote's like, well, I don't need your permission to pull the trigger, and he's about to shoot Spider-Man, this Frank Castle Punisher Venomverse character gets sucked off into the Venomverse, like all the other Edge of issues. So Spider-Man is no frets, safe and sound. None the wiser to what was about to go down. His spider sense wasn't tingling or nothing, because it's the symbiote. And yeah, Punisher is now in Venomverse. So I thought that was just, a cool, quick little story.
Me too.
And then, yeah, you liked, what was it, the Black Panther one?
Yeah. I thought this should have been an Edge of story. This
I know
and the
these
Black.
ones, I enjoyed both of these ones we're talking about more than any of the Edge of issues. And maybe it's because there wasn't so much filler to it. You know what I'm saying?
Quick to the point.
Yeah, like you didn't need 20 pages plus to describe how Gwenpool is sucked into Venomverse. You know what I'm saying?
You know, it was cool. And I didn't know the symbiote could do this. Like, he made those guns, and then when he was going to shoot Spider-Man, and he just did the hand motions like he was holding a rifle, and then the symbiote forms a rifle. I was like, that's so fucking badass.
I know. Yeah, it was really cool. There were a lot of nice little touches there. But yeah, what's the team on this Black Panther story?
All right, so the story is called "Blessing in Disguise," and oh, God help me, the writer.
I saw that too.
The writer is called Nnedi Okorafor.
Yeah,
Okafor, and the artist is Tanya Ford or Tana Ford.
Tanya Ford, I think it is.
I'll go with Tana, and Ian Herring on the color. That's easy. So we follow. We're in Lagos, which was in the beginning of Captain America's Civil War. So it's in Africa. And we follow, Jesus, what's her name? We follow a girl named Nazi. I think it's Nazi.
Yeah.
How you pronounce it. Who is in a wheelchair, and she is obsessed with crickets, Bruce Lee, and the Dora Milaje, who are
that's a bunch of random interests there all over her wall.
Warriors and insects, and she loves grasshoppers. She's obsessed with them because they have, she used to be a runner, like a champion runner, and she lost her legs, and she's obsessed with the grasshoppers because of their powerful hind legs, and she just loves them because of it.
Yeah, and there's a kind of a cool point where they mentioned too that like grasshoppers have such powerful legs they forget they can fly.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of why she likes them too, because like basically hinting at the fact that they got these wings but they can't use them, kind of like she can't use her legs really type thing they were getting at there.
But wait, there's something else. Oh yeah, and she's obsessed with warriors for some reason. Like, she loves Bruce Lee, and she loves the Black Panther's personal female guard.
Yeah, the bodyguards,
his warrior. They call them his warrior wives. So, which for more on that, I mean, the title Black Panther, they give you so much history.
They go in
on the
Dora Milaje, especially because it's like one of the Dora. I can't ever say that.
Two of them, yeah. Two of them went against the king.
Yeah, they go against Black Panther and kind of start a little revolution,
which was pretty fucking crazy. That book is so dense. Him and Nishi Coates and fucking Al Ewing have a lot in common. So, so she sees a grasshopper outside, and she fucking books it in the wheelchair, and she's rushing out there, and she goes to go grab it. But meanwhile, while she's doing this, there's a huge fight between Black Panther and the Rhino. I don't know why Rhino is in Africa, but he's there.
Rhinos are in Africa, dude.
Rhinos are in Africa. That does make sense. But apparently he was in Lagos stealing a canister, and they're fighting over it, and then the canister rolls over to Nazi's wheelchair, and Black Panther screams out to her not to pick it up, and when she goes and reaches for it, the symbiote just like latches onto her and covers her body. So Black Panther runs to her to try to stop it, but fucking Rhino grabs his leg and basically just destroys him. I mean, like,
this gets brutal, man.
So brutal. He smashes him on the ground and then fucking breaks his back, and Black Panther's fucking dead. Meanwhile, Nazi realizes that she has her legs back so she stands up out of the wheelchair and she's just fucking amazed that she can change into anything. So she changes into like a venom cricket form, and she
Yeah.
like starts flying. Her wings start pattering and she's in the air, and then she looks over and she sees Black Panther get fucking killed, and Rhino starts heading over to her screaming that he wants the symbiote.
I like the argument she's having with the symbiote too.
Yeah, me too, because the symbiote's like, we need to run, like no one's here to protect us, and the Rhino's not going to stop until he gets us. She's like,
Yeah.
no, we're going to fight. Black
Yeah,
Panther
because
is
it doesn't
dead.
sense like she has such a strong will, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And she, she wills that symbiote to stay and fight, and she has such a love for the Dora Milaje. She kind of takes it upon herself to become his like Dora Milaje in that moment, and she starts fighting the Rhino, and she kicks his ass.
Yeah, she does whoop his ass.
And then the symbiote's gaining more confidence over the time of
Does
him
she
kicking the ass.
kill the Rhino? Because Black Panther has
He
like that
does.
X coming out of his
Yeah.
like body, meaning like, yeah, I'm dead, and so does Rhino. So I think
Yeah.
and even the panel before that, she's like, and now I'm gonna kill you too.
She does.
And like
She
kicks him right in, I imagine, through the eye and into the brain.
right in the fucking head. He's fucking dead. Rhino's dead on the ground, and she always wanted to be a part of the Dora Milaje, and but not like this, not at the cost of Black Panther being dead. But while this is happening, the symbiote realizes that it can do this and it doesn't have to run and it can fight. And with that, they're forming a bond, which is cool because you'd never think, like, some people take a whole entire issue to form a bond, and this writer I've never heard of, but like pulls off the symbiote and her forming this bond in like a page or two, and it
Yeah.
works.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's rushed. Really, it's done really well. It's surprising.
It really is done really well. And then so the parents come and they're talking about her daughter and her losing her legs, and they're talking to the Dora Milaje, and how it's just like a coincidence, and how she's mostly lived in her head since then. And the Dora Milaje tell her like nothing's a coincidence, and they want to take her back to Wakanda. So they take her back to Wakanda and they train her. They have her fighting the Dora Milaje and training, and then she fights. I forget. Does she fight someone for the role of Black Panther?
Yeah, it's not T'Challa, but like somebody going for the role of Black Panther, like in a Black Panther type suit, fighting her.
Yes, and she wins, and because of that, they deem her to be the next Black Panther. So she ends up becoming the new Black Panther, and they take her. The Black Panther, when you earn that right to be the Black Panther, you eat this heart-shaped herb that gives him super strength. It gives him super speed. It's basically like that heart-shaped herb is like Captain America's super soldier serum. Yeah. So they rub it all over her body, like into the symbiote, and the symbiote absorbs it, and it helps them permanently bond to each other. So they're fully bonded, like heart and soul together. And she becomes the new Black Panther and the new like monarch of fucking Wakanda. And
yeah, she's like the Black Cricket.
Yeah,
the
she's
Black
like the Black
Cricket Panther.
She's standing over the throne and she's like hovering with the wings flapping. And I'm like, I loved this story so much. I was like, damn, you know how we have those like Spider-Gwen or Renew Your Vows? I was like, I would read this fucking book.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I wish the art was just a touch better. Like it looks a little kind of kiddish.
Yeah,
not saying like a little kid drew it, but like more in the style of like a kid's comic art.
Yes, like a story for a kid.
Yeah. But other than that, like I don't have any complaints as far as where the story's coming from. And I think the two that we discussed were probably the highlights of the issue. There's a cool Rocket and Captain Marvel one that's not awful.
I got a fact about the last story. Ryan messaged me.
One?
Yeah. Ryan messaged me earlier, and apparently the guy who wrote the last story, which was a Doctor Doom symbiote story, was the guy who co-wrote the movie Creed.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
Yeah, I didn't. That story was fun too. The Doom one, like I said, really the only one I didn't thoroughly enjoy was the first one, and that's just giving you a little bit of information that's important, centering around Doctor Strange. But the art is the worst of all the stories.
Yeah, for sure.
Overall, I thought this book, not that you need it to understand the event, which hurts it a little bit in the long run, especially for $5. Um, but I think this is a solid borrow. And if you have any interest in like the two stories that we kind of summarized for you, I think you might even lean towards the buy category.
Most
This one
definitely.
was a tough one for me to judge. I was like between buy and borrow. But just because it's an anthology book and the price you have to invest into it, like you're spending almost $10 on two Venomverse issues, when really only one is pertinent to the story. I would lean this towards a borrow. Like if you had a light week, I would pick it up. But if you had a heavy week and you were on the fence about it, you could miss it and not be sad.
Most definitely. This book was made to borrow. Like it's
Yeah.
really good enough to check out, but at the same time, like to dedicate that much money to a
Yeah.
side event.
I know. Like if you have a buddy that's willing to toss you $250 and you go half seas on the book, and someone gets the code, someone gets the hard copy, that's probably the best way to do it.
That's a sweet idea right there, too.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, go borrow. I think is that where you're leaning towards war stories?
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
Borrow.
And I don't think they're coming out, even though it said at the end to be continued. I think they were just alluding to the various stories maybe picking up in Venomverse itself. Because I don't think there's another War Stories issue coming out.
Not next week there isn't, and this can't, like, because if it's a weekly event, and since I didn't see it on the list for next week, I think you're right.
Yeah. So if you want a little more Venomverse, this was better than the Edge of books, but also something you could pass and not be sad about. But yeah, that's gonna wrap up our books for the night, guys. Kind of a more positive week than we've had in a few, so that's
most definitely.
Yeah, that's good. Maybe the Secret Empire hangover is leaving us finally. We can stick our heads out of that rabbit hole and absorb the sunshine now that evil Cap's gone. But we're gonna end things up with a sign out segment. Last week we played the Marvel Legacy trailer. So if you listen to Tom Brevoort and Axel Alonso wax poetic about the upcoming one shot at the end of this month, which we'll cover in depth. They did mention not possibly, they mentioned that somebody is going to return. So what me and Trevor are going to do for the sign out segment this week is we're going to take a wild guess at who that might be, because I myself haven't seen any spoilers for it, which I'm very surprised about. And I want to get a guess out there before, the inevitable week leading up to that book comes out and they do end up spoiling it.
Yeah, because they will.
Yeah, I think that's happening. Like the Wally West wasn't kept a secret in Rebirth, so I don't think this is going to be much different. But we're going to take a wild guess on who we think's coming back here. I want to go out on a limb and say it's not going to be any of the Fantastic Four that are missing.
No.
I think they're pretty steadfast in their stubbornness as far as that goes for now. I think it's going to be, I don't know why I think it. I'm going to go with Adam Warlock for some reason, with all the Infinity Stone stuff coming up and kind of where I think all the cosmic stuff is leading to. I think that, and I don't have anything to base it off of other than a wild guess, and that being my reasoning. But I think maybe him, and James Gunn's hint at the end of the Guardians movie and all that might be. I think Adam Warlock might be the guy. What about you?
I definitely don't think it's any of the Fantastic Four, because in Generations, the Iron, Riri went to the future and they mentioned Reed and they said, oh, they left decades ago and they never came back. But then again, they were in the the far-flung future, like almost 200 years in the future, or like 100, like maybe like 90 years in the future. So they say decades. That could mean 20 years. So maybe they could come back, So, but
right.
I think it's going to be Tony Stark, because the next Iron Man arc is going to be called the Search for Tony Stark, which means that they know he's alive somewhere, so they're looking for him. So I'm thinking maybe he's going to pop up in Legacy, which is going to lead them to look for him, because I heard Riri plays a big part. So
yeah, that's a good guess. Yeah, so we'll see how right we are. We got to wait, 3 more weeks? It's last week of September. That's going to be popping up on our release schedule. And again, we'll maybe have a you know, a book less that week, maybe just focus on 3 because we want to really dive into that bad boy in detail.
Most definitely.
But yeah, that's going to wrap things up for us. Those are our guesses. Tell us what your guess is. Hit us up on Twitter or again, DM us. We want to hear from you guys. We've had a good couple download weeks, so I wanted to thank everybody who's listening for the boost of confidence as far as that goes, seeing things keep going up. We like that. But yeah, if you are looking to get a hold of us, again, Twitter at MadnessMarvel1, Gmail at MarvelMadness0. That's where you guys can find us. And again, anything you wanna tell us, we're not shy. We'll read it. We'll discuss it. So yeah, hit us up. But next week we're gonna cover 4 books for you. The event book is still up in the air. We're gonna kind of thumb through the books and see which one we want to talk about as far as that goes. So stay up on the Twitter. Stay up on the Twitter page because I always put a preview of the books we'll cover on the podcast. So that'll determine the final answer for you at the end of next week. But I'm going to do Amazing Spider-Man 32 for the Spider book. That's the new arc coming out of Secret Empire post Parker Industries going kaput. So we'll see what's up with Peter and what he's going to be doing leading into his legacy book. Probably some pieces fall into place for his Daily Planet resurrection.
Daily Bugle.
Daily Bugle, yeah. Great.
I got the solicit here if you want to hear it real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
It says Norman Osborn's Goblin-free battle with Spidey didn't go the way he had hoped. Now Osborn needs to find an edge and get the Goblin back. And neither you nor Spidey are ready for the edge he's going to find. Guest starring Greg Smallwood on art. All right, that's exciting. So it's going to be a Norman Osborn-centric book with Greg Smallwood on art. I'm fucking
probably
down.
giving Giuseppe a chance to get a couple issues deep on the legacy run that's starting up.
Immonen, Stuart Immonen.
Oh yeah, Immonen. God damn it, I'm all fucking brain right now. So yeah, well, hero section. Me and Trev have decided. I didn't even see this on the schedule, so he brought this to my attention. Runways #1 is going to be coming out next week, so that's going to be our hero book. For IVX, what did you end up making your final decision?
Yes, I made my final decision. I'm going to be doing Secret Warriors #6 because I usually pay way more attention to the X-Men than the Inhumans, so I'm going to try to do some Inhumans. So I did Royals, now I'm going to do Secret Warriors.
Secret Warriors is still going after Secret Empire, so we're going to see what those characters are up to. Focuses on mostly Quake, I think, that issue from the solicit.
Yeah, Quake and Deadpool.
And then the event book is either going to be Venomverse 2, because especially after a strong first issue, I'd like to maybe see what's going on with that second one as that wraps up this month. And then Secret Empire Omega also comes out. So I'm going to thumb through that. I'm going to see if there's anything really worth talking about. If it's just like a long, drawn-out conversation, like the preview I read between the 2 Captain Americas, I don't know how interested in that I'd be. I think I'd rather cover Venomverse in that case.
I have a feeling it's going to be like fucking what was that book? The Oath.
Yeah, that's the gist I got too, kind of.
So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
I saw the preview. You saw the preview.
Real
too,
excited.
Right? Yeah, because like I just wanted to be
Sorrentino art too. Like it doesn't even look like Cap that's talking, and I don't know. It just didn't grab my attention right away. So we'll see. I'm still gonna read it. But if I want to talk about it, we'll find out later. But yeah, that's it. We're gonna wrap this party up here, guys. We will talk to you next week. Next Monday, 4 more books coming at you. Until that time, you know where to find us. Holler at us, and we'll speak then. Later, guys.
Peace.
Nice.